to my channel. So today I'm going to do a nice little video. I do this every so often because I like to rank my last 10 palettes that I have received in my collection, and I'm not someone who buys 10 palettes a month, so obviously this is only going to happen at the point where I actually have 10 new palettes to talk about and I rank them. And this is not a unique idea at all. So many people do these ranking videos. I'm not sure who came up with it to start off with, but my last one was back in December, and I have accumulated quite a few palettes, so we're gonna do a ranking, another ranking. I don't know if this is fun. Nobody seems to like ranking videos anymore, but I do, so we're gonna do it. And yeah, let's get into it. The first one, I'm purely ranking it as low as it is because I haven't dipped into all the shades all that much, and also just the quality is not as good as all of the rest of these palettes. However, the quality of this palette is still good, so there's nothing really wrong with this palette. It just ended up at the bottom because the color story is a bit bland, but I bought it because I liked it. And yeah, it's just the formula isn't like a special wow formula, and it is the Essence Circle of Life palette. They came out a few of these, and I bought this back in November, like I think the end of November. But I didn't rank it in my last ranking video because I hadn't tried it at that point, so it kind of rolled on until I had enough palettes. So I've got 10 palettes now to talk through. Anyway, it's just a very neutral color story. I do have it currently in my Pan Nose eyeshadows. I'm working on one of the matte shades, and I haven't gone into it enough, but I do like it. I think it's a really nice, cute color story, and definitely something that I want to put a little bit more use on for the next couple of months. But I'm ranking it at the bottom, not because I hate it. I don't think I hate any of these. There are some where I have issues with, and that's why I haven't ranked them super high, but I don't have any issues with this one. It is what it is. Okay, the next one is the Monsoon from What's Up Beauty. I do have 3 palettes from What's Up Beauty, and I got them all in a bundle. And I think when you get a lot of palettes all at once, it's really hard to figure out how you feel about the palette. And I should have known better, because when I used to buy a lot from ColourPop, for instance, I would get tons of palettes all at once, and it does take some time to really get a feeling of a palette, and I still am not quite there with all of my What's Up Beauty palettes. However, I do feel like this is the one at the bottom, just simply because I think the color story is the weakest for me in terms of the other two. I have the Geods and I have the Dragon's Eye, and I got the bundle because I wanted to get the Dragon's Eye regardless, and then I saw that the Geods was in the bundle, and that's always a palette I've envied. So, you know, this one came with it, and it was just one of the ones that I was like, okay, fine, it makes sense to get all 3. I just think the blue throws me off, the blue and the purple. If they had just kept it more, I don't know, more of a greeny, grungy color story with the browns, and maybe the lighter, these lighter tones are fine. But this blue and this purple just throw me off, and I'm not a fan of them. So yeah, I feel like the color story is just a bit like, ooh, I don't really know. So that's kind of where I've ranked it. I think the quality is fine from the shades that I've tried. Next up, we've got a palette from Cosmic Brushes, which really hurt my soul. I did a 3 looks 1 palette with this one, and I really just felt like I felt disappointed. Even though the looks that I created were pretty, like objectively they were quite pretty, and the palette is still very pretty, and the formula is still really beautiful, I think ultimately the color story is not, just something off about it, and it is the Muse palette. I think it was just too dark for me. Not that I don't wear dark shades, because I do, and I was lusting over this. Well, I bought it. I really wanted this palette, but actually using it for a 3 looks 1 palette video, it kind of just put it in perspective that I just didn't really need this color story, and the tones in here, a lot of them are not unique to my, you know, all the other palettes that I have in my collection. So this didn't really bring a lot of uniqueness to my collection other than this green. I do think this green is beautiful. This pink is really beautiful. I think this shade up here as well, Ambient, is quite nice, and Antique is beautiful too. There are some pretty shades in here, but there are also some shades where I just have them a million times over, and I just felt like overall it was a very dark palette for somebody who was just going into spring when I was trying it out. So I think it'll probably suit me better come full time when I'm in a dark place. Right now I just want to do like bright, colorful makeup. It would seem that either that or neutral, which I can do neutral with the Muse. I don't know, for some reason I didn't fall in love with it like I thought I would, so I'm ranking it pretty low. Okay, next up is a palette where I've just used it the once. I kind of feel bad for including it, but it is the Lunar Beauty Nude Prism palette. And I'm only ranking it here just simply because I've done the one look and there's nothing wrong with the look at all. The formula is fine. It's not a formula that I have fallen in love with after using it, but I don't hate it. And I think also like niggling at me is the fact that I spent the money on the palettes, because I bought 2 palettes from the Lunar Beauty. The shipping was just so ridiculously expensive, and I think knowing how I feel about the formula and the palettes of each of them, because I will have another palette to talk about, I just kind of feel like I shouldn't have bought it. It was like a you know, like one of those buys where you're like, in hindsight, that's kind of annoying because I could just have that money for something else. So I think I have like a little of a bitterness inside of me about these 2 palettes, just because I was really hoping to really love them and I haven't. But I did want this palette because I thought it was really pretty, and when he first launched it a few years ago or last year, I was definitely curious about it, and I'm glad that I have it, but it's just not a palette I fall in love with. And then we have another Cosmic Brushes, the Serenity. So this is a palette that I got, I think it arrived back in December or November time, and I have never ranked it because, like the Essence palette, I just didn't have, you know, I think I had 12 palettes to talk through in December, so I ended up skipping Serenity and the Circle of Life one, and I was like, I'll talk about it in my next ranking. So here we are in my next ranking months later, and I'm finally going to be talking about the Serenity. I do like this palette, and like I said, I think all of these palettes are pretty. There's like nothing, there's no issues with these palettes. I do actually like this better than the Muse. When you look at the color story, it's definitely not typically a color story that I should like better than the Muse, but I've had more fun with this, and I think this has a little bit more variety. For whatever reason, I really like the lime green. I like this pop of orange. It just adds something different because you can mix that with the brown and do a completely different look. You can go in the gold, orange, and brown, and that's one look, or you could really go into the greens, you could go into the blues, the purples. So looking at it, you think, oh, it's just a purple blue color story with some green, but actually there's a lot of options in this, and I have realized that I am somebody who likes a palette that has a lot of options to it, because I change my mind every day, and I didn't know I was going to do a red look today. I didn't know I was going to do a red look. I had no desire to do one, and I ended up doing one because I went with the flow. And so if I want to open up a palette, and I'll just go with the flow, I don't want to have to be stuck with one color story. So I don't know, I think this was really fun to use. I haven't used it in a few months. I will also say the quality of Cosmic Brushes is beautiful, but the same with the Muse. I didn't really have any issues with the quality, and I had no issues when I went into this. So I do like this palette, I do. So I'm going to rank it here, and I've just used it a little bit more than the Nude Prism, so obviously I'm going to rank it higher than that one. Okay, next up we have What's Up Beauty. We have the Geod's palette, which I mentioned I obviously got in that bundle. This one I always thought was so stunning, and I was like, I want that palette. And so I got it in that bundle, and I'm very excited I did, because I think some of these shimmers are really, actually all of the shimmers that I've tried are really beautiful. The mattes work fine. Like this, the quality of this formula is beautiful too. And you know, it's a little bit subdued, I think. What I'll say about this, it's not like super in your face. Even though you do have this green, it's not like in your face like some other palettes and shades are. You can obviously go into the mauves and purples and just do a really nice subtle look, or you can dip into this area over here, which I've been dying to. So I like this palette, so I wanted to rank it here. However, another palette that I feel like I like a little bit more because the color story suits me a little bit more is the Moontro from Lunar Beauty. So in terms of the formula, I feel the same way about this as I do the nude one that I just spoke about, where it's fine. I think the formula is beautiful. It's fine. I'm not going to rave about it like some people. There's just some formulas of brands where I will rave about it for some reason I just love it. And then there's some brands that I think, yeah, that's beautiful. Like What's Up Beauty, I think, yeah, that's beautiful. However, if I talk about Menagerie Cosmetics, that is a formula that is like stunning to me. Gloss Gods, for me, I feel like I love their formula, but I can see maybe some people wouldn't like it. Lunar Beauty, for me personally, I think it's beautiful, but it's not just something I'm gonna rave about. However, I love this color story, and that's why I wanted to get it, and that's why I finally bought something from Lunar Beauty, because is it unique? No. Are there a lot of other palettes out there like this? Yes. But I didn't have a lot of them out there with these grungy greens and yellows with the pop of purple, at least not anymore. So I really wanted to try it, and I did a 3 looks one palette with this, and I enjoyed it. So I'm gonna rank it here, which actually is pretty high up, to be fair, because I've only got 3 palettes left. All right, next up is the Dragon's Eye from What's Up Beauty. So again, this was in that bundle. I just think this one is just a tiny bit more fun than the Geods. I do think they're very similar, but I think there's a little bit more of a brightness to this one. You've got this peachy tone, you do have this bright green, you have this sort of yellowy green as well. You have this one over here, which is really pretty, and I've just rolled that into my pan, those eyeshadows. And again, you can go into some purples and mauves. So it's very similar. Let me just put them side by side. I find them very similar. So this is what they look like. And I don't know, for one reason, I find this one just a little bit, has just a little bit more of a pop than this one. This one's a little bit more subtle, but you can see they're definitely part of the same family, right? I find them very, very, very similar. And maybe over time I will prefer the Geods, but I have to say I've used this a little bit more than the Geods and the Monsoon, quite a bit more than the Monsoon as well. This is the one I've used the most out of the 3. So I have more of an opinion about it too. So anyway, I'm ranking it here. It's 3rd place. So still, you know, that's pretty high, and I do think it's pretty. I do. All right, next up we actually have a Gloss Gods one, where this I bought in December, right at the end of December, or I received it right at the end of December, so it didn't end up in that ranking video as well. And this is the Gal on Jupiter. It is a really cool tone palette. And you know, you've got your pops of silver in there, and you've got your beautiful rich browns and just like taupey shades. This is really, really pretty, and some of these shimmers are quite extraordinary and quite metallic, and yeah, very, very nice. I also did a 3 looks one palette with this as well, so there's a video out there somewhere lingering on the webs on my channel if you want to find it. I think overall, I think I liked all 3 of the looks, but one of the looks I found with this silver a little bit like, whoa, in your face. Just, I'm not used to wearing silver, but it's definitely a palette that if you like cool tones, I would highly recommend it. If you're not into cool tones, why are you buying this? You don't need to buy it. I like both. I like cool tones. I probably like cool tones more than warm tones, but I have to be in the mood for warm tones, and when I wear warm tones, I appreciate them for the most part, but I think I do suit cool tones more. But anyway, I'm gonna rank it here. I just love the formula of Gloss Gods. Like I said, this is a brand where I will rave about it because for whatever reason, they have my heart, so that's kind of annoying. Okay, and then there was another Gloss Gods, which I don't recall if I ranked this in my ranking videos last year, but this is a repurchase, and I bought it at the same time as I bought this one, and it is the New Neutrals. Now, I'm not ranking it in this video. This is more like a before the last one. Let's look at this one. I would probably slot it in here if I were to rank it in this video, just simply because I think I've already ranked this. So I don't think it's fair. I don't think I need to rank it. It's a repurchase of mine. I had it last year, gave it away, and now I have it back. So I would probably slot it in here. I love these. It looks very boring, but these flip, and they're duochrome, and they're beautiful. And again, it's like, you know, a neutral palette with a twist, and I like that, but we're not ranking it. Anyway, it's here. The last one, which was a surprise to me, I also had this in a 3 looks one palette, and it is from Cosmic Brushes. I did not expect to really have so much fun with this. I think that's why I'm ranking it so, because I had so much fun creating these looks, and it is the Delicious Delights. I also think the time of year, this just fits in perfectly because this is a bright, colorful spring palette and I got it at the right time. Had I got the Muse right like in September, October time, maybe this would have been a different type of video. But I got this the same time as I got the Muse, and I did them both in one video where I did 3 looks of each of them. And for whatever reason, I was just so disappointed in the Muse because I love this one so much. And even though, I have to say, even though there were a couple of shades in here where I felt like the shimmer could have been more impactful, so I'm going to be honest with you, there is actually a couple of issues in this palette. This pink in particular doesn't have like a lot of sort of impact. It's soft, it's beautiful, but it's not metallic like the other shimmers, and as well as this green one, Fizzy. These two definitely are way more lackluster than you would expect compared to the other shimmers where you've got this gorgeous duochrome where it's pink and green, and then you've also got frosting, which is really beautiful. It's a beautiful it's like purple with something on it, purple and silver or whatever. So you can see the difference. This is like a true metallic duochrome. This is also really pretty. I can't really move my finger very well, but these two, especially the green, is very lackluster in comparison to the rest. So that in itself kind of threw me off only slightly. Having said that, I'm still ranking it at the top because the mattes blended so beautifully. I'd never expected to be able to blend some of these purples together with the blues, and I was, and I'm not a blender, so that was great for me. And you obviously have the variety in here and the pops of color, and I just thought it was so much fun when I played with this. So it's definitely the most fun palette that I have played with recently, so I have to rank it as #1. And you know what, I'm not mad about that. I'm not mad about that because at least, you know, I was very disappointed in the Muse, but this definitely made up for it. And I can see why people will talk about cosmic brushes because of, you know, certain shades that they've got in their palettes are just so beautiful. So anyway, yes, that is it. That is ranking my last 10 palettes. And as always, I will wait until I have another 10 to rank. So this will come back whenever it comes back. Hopefully not next month because that means I'm buying too much. But hopefully, yeah, in another 5-6 months. That seems to be the going rate at this point. Which I don't know if that's good or bad. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you'd like to. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.